I'm thinking about getting like the Saw dude, like fingers tattooed like over my face, and then just having it here saying just Saw.
Dude, that's like next level.
I think it'd be pretty good.
I think, yeah, I think
it's like worth the punishment for the tattoo, I think. Hey guys, it's Kevin Antriusian over at Backroom Studios. Today's video is going to be on the top 10 plugins that I think you should check out. The reasoning behind this video is that when I was younger and just getting into this, I had the mentality that getting all the plugins was the best way to go. 1,000 EQs, 1,000 compressors, blah, blah, blah. That way, when I pulled open my windows in front of my clients, like, yo, check this out. And there would be like 6 different like windows opening of all the stupid plugins I had, and I was gonna impress them because of my lack of actual physical hardware. Hey Kev, the snare sounds pretty good, but it sounds a little dark. Don't you think? Oh yeah, we could fix that. Let me just pull up an EQ plugin. Let's see here. Go to my EQ plugin. Okay. Let's try. This looks cool. Okay, let's try this one. Oh. Alright, let me try another one. Give me a sec. Hold on. Oh. Let's try this thing. Yeah, I don't know how to use that one. Alright, you know what? Let's try. Yeah, okay, let's try this. How's that sound? Good? I soon realized after that they don't give a shit. So the only thing they care about is how good it's gonna sound in the end. They don't care what you use. They don't care how many of this plugin you have. Like, it's a conversation piece, but it is dumb. It's really dumb. The reasoning it is dumb is because you become less efficient. I say you have a situation, I just need to get rid of some high end here, some brutal high end. You open up the window, you're gonna sit there and go, oh man, which of these 600 EQs do I really want to grab right now? Oh, is it a really good time to try this one? I've never tried it before. Maybe I should just go with the one I kind of know, but I don't really know any because I have so many and I want to try them all. So I don't really know. You're dumb. Get one, get really good with it, super quick with it. The idea is that you want to get the sound that's in your head out there in the shortest amount of time possible. You don't want to just waste their time. If you have a construction worker and he's got 30 different hammers, it doesn't just get one fucking hammer and get it done. All right? You're dumb. All right, so let's get right into it. 10. We're gonna start with EQs, and my favorite go-to EQ right now is the Fabfilter Pro-Q 3. The 2 and the 1 are also great. This is just the most current iteration of that plugin. And for surgical stuff, broad stuff, analytical stuff, there's like full spectrum graph on it. This thing can do so much. There's like millions of EQ plugins out there, and a lot of them are really good. But as far as like value for your dollar, this thing covers so much ground. You can adjust the range over here. You can add, like, I think it's like 24 different bands or something. You can add a ton. Like, I'm not gonna go into super specifics of every plugin, but you can solo out each band. You can change which curves you want, which shapes you want. It's super low latency. It's super low overhead on your CPU. You can use a million of them without a problem. Mono, stereo. There's also this bizarre EQ matching you can do, so you can try to like use that if you want to. Sometimes it works okay, sometimes it doesn't. Their stuff is some of the best stuff out there. You could definitely, like give yourself a mix challenge and mix an entire record with just the Fabfilter mix package. Their stuff is, I don't know anybody at the company, so I'm not gonna get paid to saying this, but their stuff is legit. I would definitely start there with a lot of this stuff, as you'll see in a lot of my plugins. 9. Next on the list is going to be the CLA 76. What to say about this one? It's just 1176. It's the CLA signature version. So it's pretty easy. There's nothing really special about this one in terms of feature set. You know, he does give you the regular black one and then the blue revision, which is kind of neat. They have slightly different sonic characteristics. They also give you the ability to turn like analog noise on. That stuff is always stupid to me because it accumulates and always gets way too much in my realm. So I just turn that stuff off. But yeah, it's an 1176. It's a great sounding 1176. Can't ask for too much more. There is a lot of compressor plugins. I would say honorable mention is the API 2500. I have the actual one right here, which I use on my drums on every record, and this is my favorite thing. So the plugin is actually really close to it. It's surprising. It's licensed by them. If you can't afford that, check out that plugin. 1176 plugin is awesome too. Moving along. 8. The Fabfilter Pro-MB. Shit. This thing's amazing. This thing also covers a lot of ground. It's very visual, like all of their stuff. You can see what's happening. You can solo each band. You can mute each band. So it's a multi-band comp if you didn't already know. Big news there. It has oversampling. You can do look ahead with it. You can use multi-bands, especially this multi-band, in a lot of creative ways. For instance, one of my favorite tricks I like to do, quickly get rid of some hi-hat bleed in the snare track. I'll have it every time it comes in quickly. It'll let it in for the initial transient, but then after the decay, it kind of squashes it out. So, you know, you can kind of like not gate it as hard, but not have all that awful sounding hi-hat nonsense in your snare mic when you're compressing it a lot too. So it's really handy. And then, you know, it does all the other stuff a multi-band can do, but just better. 7. We got delay. And this is my go-to delay. There's a lot of delays. None are as good as this. This is the Echo Boy by Sound Toys. They make a lot of really cool stuff. If you've been with me in the studio, you have definitely seen me pull this up at least once per minute. You know, it's like a standard, you know, delay box. It can do all kinds of different sounds. You know, you can different styles of delay. You got your space echo, you know, tube stuff. You got tape stuff.
Canyon.
You can do a bunch of different sounds. Look at all that, wow. And there's a lot of flexibility in there. You know, it obviously, since it's a, you know, in the box plugin, it locks to the grid. Sometimes I find that, you know, unless someone's going for a specific sound with like a guitar delay, I usually like to use an in the box delay since it locks to the tempo and it's less messy in terms of, you know, kind of being off the grid, if you will, if you're doing something to a grid. It's a great plugin. It sounds awesome. There's a lot of neat, like crazy presets in here too. Check it out. I use it all the time. 6. Okay, so now let's get into some limiting and mastering stuff. What a fucking surprise. We're back at Fabfilter again. The Pro L2. The Pro L I used for many years. It was awesome. The Pro L2 is just the next step. Just covers a little bit more ground. The reason I use this, and I've used many others, I've used Slate stuff, I've used, you know, honorable mention, it would be the PSP Vintage Warmer. I still use that on almost every mix. There's a lot of really great limiters out there too. You know, people still use the L2 with, you know, all the time. But this one is great. I mean, there's so many interesting Fabfilter type features. It's very visual. And it seems to give me the least amount of distortion when I'm pushing things really hard, and I can get things really loud with this without it really doing too much to the mix. I usually get up to, you know, like negative 8 RMS. Sometimes we'll push it to like 7 if we're getting really crazy, and it sounds pretty transparent, which is pretty crazy. I'm sure there's other ones out there too, but this one is super easy to use. Another great thing about every Fabfilter plugin, if you're not sure about what a certain knob does or any feature essentially in the whole thing, you just hover over it and then within a second you get a whole fucking blurb explanation about what it does, what this specific control does. You can go further into the help menu and kind of figure that out too, and they publish a lot of videos on all their products too. So for teaching, when I teach someone stuff too, I usually grab a Fabfilter because it's super visual, it's easy to understand, and if you're lost on a plugin and you want to show them what a knob does, they tell you. Crazy.
I'm here to talk to you today about Gorilla Tango Novelty Meats' new product, Big Hot Dog.
5.
We're gonna go into the distortion category. You know, it's a great category. If I'm not using some kind of an analog box or like a pedal for distortion, a lot of times for vocals, I'll just grab a Decapitator made by Sound Toys. This is not like a surprise thing. It's not a secret that you've never heard of before. A lot of people use this plugin. It's not new, but it's great. It has, 5 different types of distortions. You can also use the punish button. So good, so brutal, over the top. It's a quick way to get distortion, good sounding distortion. A lot of times I'll just like put a little bit or a lot on a vocal if I'm going for that kind of thing, and it works out well. I guess, you could say honorable mention is, the Saturn by Fabfilter. God, man, I just really fucking broken record with this shit. Broke. Hey, man, this shit's good. I can't, what am I gonna do? Not talk about it?
4.
Alright, so this is often like a weird kind of dynamic category. This is a rather new-ish plugin within the last year or so. I'm a part of a Facebook audio group, and someone brought this up, and I was like, oh, cool, this seems interesting, and check that out. The company, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's Oak Sound, I guess? I guess that's what it's called, Oak Sound? I don't know. This is the plugin called Soothe, and it's pretty flexible, and you don't have to get too crazy to get it to do what it needs to do. Essentially, I like to use anything that sounds harsh in like the upper range, like 4, 3, 5K, whatever, cymbals, guitar, something's brutal. Say someone hands you like pre-recorded guitars for you to mix, and they sound like shit. Stop doing that, please. You do it all the time. And it's just brutal up there. If you can't get through just like dialing it out with like an EQ, and it's only coming in certain times, this is like a dynamic way. It's like a multi-band, but only focused on the high end and really smoothing out all that brutal stuff. It's really handy, especially on cymbals. Gets rid of a lot of that nasty stuff. Makes everything sound a lot cleaner.
3.
So this is a strange one. This would go under the mastering category, but you could use it for other things too. This is the T-Rax Master Match by IK Multimedia. Why can't I say that properly?
What's dude?
It's kind of a weird plugin. It's, you can throw in a reference, whatever it be. It could be a bass track, it could be a whole song, it could be whatever. And essentially, one application of this would be you'd have this on your master or sub-master, and you can load in, bring in, actually like throw it in like a stereo track of another band, and like say the client's like, I kind of like this record, can you kind of make my record sound similar? And you're like, shit, that's not really possible. But with this, it definitely will give you a nice nudge in that direction. Essentially what it's doing is it's comparing the delta of your track and the reference track. You can do up to 3 reference tracks, which is kind of cool too. So if you get like, oh, we like this, this, and this, can you kind of make it sound like that? That's impossible. But this thing kind of has a way to do that. You can throw the reference in there and kind of adjust how much you want the EQ curve over time to kind of match it. And then also does level matching too, which is kind of cool. So it has a little bit of that in there. Now, does that mean that your mix is gonna be the same? Absolutely fucking not. If your bass guitar sounds horrible and is super loud, and in the reference it's perfectly sitting in the mix and sounds great, it's not gonna change that. It's just a frequency manipulator, and a really good one at that. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I think people should. It's really handy. Check it out.
2.
Okay, here's another one that I use all the time, probably on every mix. This is the Jst Trans Affine plugin. This thing is essentially like a 4-band SBL transient designer, which is, I guess, the predecessor of this. And this just kind of does that, but a little bit more. It has, you can do the treble mid, low mid, and the bass, and you get, the attack and sustain. These things are not very complicated. That's kind of the beauty of them. Great on shells, snare drum, kick drum, bringing out attack, lengthening sustain, or the opposite. If you want less attack and less sustain, that's fine too. You can get creative with them. They're really awesome, and they definitely bring out that. Such a fucking dickhead.
One.
All right, here's the last one I'm gonna give you. This is under the, the virtual instrument category. None of these so far have been really secret weapons. They're just like, yo, this is simple and awesome. Use this. This is kind of a secret weapon for me. It's not new. They have a newer version out, which I plan to buy. But right now, I just know the old one so well that I just use it all the time. It's Spectronics Omnisphere. And this is super handy. The library is massive, and you can. There's so many sounds in here. There's like pianos on fire. There's like laser sounds. There's explosions. I always use like for like big like sub effects. I don't really like to use 808s because I just feel like that's super like 2000s, and I like try not to do that. So there's like things that kind of do the low end sub boom thing, but they're kind of like drum hit. And it has everything you could possibly imagine. It has like regular sounding instruments, but usually this thing just kind of does above and beyond just crazy things. And it's really great to just grab. You're like, I don't know what to do for this part. You have no intro to your song and you need something weird sounding. Let's use this. And then sure enough, in like 2 minutes, the artist is like, this is the coolest thing ever. Thank you. And you're like, yeah, Omnisphere saved the day yet again. Well, I hope that was hopeful. That makes literally no sense. So I hope that video was helpful for you guys. I want you to see that having too many things is definitely distracting, and it's not going to help you be a faster engineer and get the sound you want. And after you get past that, then maybe start getting some more. But if you think that 6L6s sound better than EL34s, you're fucking wrong, and hit that subscribe button.